Namaste everyone. So my name is Aaron and I'm a RYT 500-hour yoga teacher trainer and a FRC mobility specialist. I'm here today to take you through a short Vinyasa flow practice. In today's world, most of the time, the way we run around with everything that we do on a day-to-day basis, what happens is us as human beings, we tend to get disconnected from our bodies. Our minds are completely disconnected to our bodies. So through the practice of yoga, without diving into the finer details and the mental benefits of it and the spiritual benefits of it, let's just try to reconnect our minds to our bodies and move in unison with one. The benefits of yoga often go way beyond this, but just for now, as a starting point, let's begin. So let's all take a deep breath in. Close your eyes. Slowly let everything you hear, all the sounds you hear, all the sensations you feel on your skin, let them fade away one by one until you're left with nothing but the sound of your own heartbeat and the sound of your own breath. As everything slowly starts to fade away, see if you can clear your mind from all the thoughts that are running through it, letting your thoughts pass through you without hanging on to them. Becoming comfortable with the silence that surrounds you, becoming comfortable with being by yourself, with your own thoughts. Emptying our cup so that we can fill it up. Let's take a deep breath in. Exhaling completely. Slowly begin to open up your eyes. Namaste. Okay, so let's make our way to the top of the mat standing. Make sure your feet are hip distance apart. Roll your shoulders back. Have the palms of your hands facing forward. Close your eyes. Relax your shoulders away from your ear. Draw your lower belly in. Draw your ribs in. Start to focus on your breath, on your heartbeat. On your inhale, you're going to start to raise your hands all the way up towards the sky, bringing your biceps close towards your ears, rolling your pinky fingers in. Now, as you bring your biceps close towards your ears, if you're sticking your ribs out to do this, I want you to draw it back in. Keep raising your shoulders all the way up towards your ears and keep taking your biceps behind your ears. Now, if that means that your hands are still here, that's completely fine, but keep actively trying to push them back. Bring your shoulders all the way up and bring your biceps back. On every exhale, see if you can draw your lower belly in towards your spine. And on your next exhale, lower your hands completely onto the mat. You can have a generous bend in your knees. Push your hands into the mat to round out your back. Keep drawing your ribs in. Keep drawing your lower belly in. Let everything ground down into the ground. On your next inhale, raise your chest up halfway, digging your fingertips into the mat. Keep rounding out that back. Keep drawing your ribs in. Keep drawing your lower belly in. See how much you can straighten out your knees by pushing them out back. Keep focusing on your breath. You can bend one knee, straighten the other. Keep alternating between the knees, shaking off any cobwebs that you might have built up. As you slowly begin to find stillness, connect your hands onto the mat and step into your plank. Now in your plank, make sure your shoulders are above your wrists. You're pushing out through your heels. Your hips are not too high, not too low. You're drawing your ribs in. You're rounding out your back by pushing your hands into the mat. Slowly start to lower your knees down. Reach forward with the crown of your head. Draw your elbows in and start to lower your chest halfway down. Now when you're halfway down, plant your feet into the mat, straighten out your knees and push into your hands. to raise your chest into an upward facing dog. Push your hands into the mat to bring your shoulders away from your ear. Take a deep breath in, and on your exhale, shift your hips up and back into your downward facing dog. Now, in your downward facing dog, you can bend one knee, straighten the other, adding movement into your downward facing dog. As you slowly begin to find stillness, push into your hands, bringing your biceps close towards your ears. On your next inhale, raise your right leg all the way up towards the sky. Bring your right knee in towards your chest as high as you can. See if you can bring your knee all the way to your nose, bring your shoulders over your wrists, and step forward with control. Now, take a deep breath in, lower your back knee down onto the mat, and on your next exhale, begin to shift your hips towards the back, straightening out your right leg. Point your right toes in towards you, and on every exhale, close the space between your chest and your thigh. On your next inhale, shift forward. Plant your hands down to frame your front foot. Power up that back knee. Push your chest onto your front leg to straighten out that front leg. And on every exhale again, close the space between your chest and your thigh. Keep reaching forward with your hands. Take a deep breath in and shift the weight forward into your right leg, raising your left leg up. Bring your left knee in and place your left foot near your right, hip distance apart. Folding yourself over completely. Again, you can have a generous bend in your knees if you need to. On your next inhale, chest comes up halfway. Fingertips dig into the mat, rounding out your back, drawing your ribs in, drawing your lower belly in, pushing into the mat, placing your hands down onto the mat and stepping back into that plank. Again, shoulders above your wrist, pushing out from your heels, hips not too high, not too low. Lower your knees down to the mat, reach forward to the crown of your head, lower down halfway, plant your feet, upward facing dog by pushing into your hands. On your inhale, on your next exhale, shift your hips up and back into your downward facing dog. Now, again in your downward facing dog, draw your ribs in, draw your lower belly in, come up high onto your tiptoes, raise that left leg up towards the sky. Bring the left knee in towards your chest, as high as you can, shoulders over your wrists, and step forward with control. Front knee over front toes, back heel over back toes. Slowly begin to lower your back knee down onto the mat. Keep reaching forward with your hands. And on your exhale, shift your hips back to straighten out your left leg this time. Keep flexing your left toes in towards you. And on every exhale, closing the space between your chest and your thigh. On your next inhale, shift your hips forward. Plant your hands down onto the mat. Power up that back leg. Push your chest onto your front leg to straighten it out as much as you can. Closing the space between your chest and your thigh, feeling everything there is to feel in the back of your left leg. Reaching your hands forward, taking a deep breath in, and shifting the weight into your left leg, raising your right leg up. Bring your right knee in and place your right foot near your left, hip distance apart. Fold yourself over completely. You can bend your knees if you need to, planting your hands down onto the mat. And on your next inhale, raising your hands all the way up towards the sky, biceps coming close towards your ear. Bringing your hands into your heart center and down by your sides. So this is one round of our warm-up. We're going to do this one more time. On your inhale, raising your hands all the way up, bringing your biceps close towards your ears, your ribs in, lower belly draws in. Actively pushing your hands back, keeping those ribs in. On your exhale, lowering your hands down onto the mat. You can have a generous bend in your knees if you need to. On your next inhale, chest comes up halfway. Digging your fingertips into the mat, straightening out your legs. Drawing that lower belly in, drawing your ribs in. Pushing your hands into the mat. planting your hands down, stepping back into that plank. Now, you can keep taking the chaturanga the way we did on the other side, or if you want to push yourself just a little bit more, you can reach forward to the crown of your head, elbows draw in, lower down halfway. On your inhale, upward facing dog, shoulders away from your ear, remember, knees active, knees are not touching the mat. Take a deep breath in, and on your exhale, shift up and back into your downward facing dog. You can have a generous bend in your knees if you need to. Come up high onto your tiptoes, raise that right leg all the way up towards the sky. Bring your right knee in towards your chest, your shoulders over your wrist, and step forward with control. Front knee over front toes, back heel over back toes. Lower the back knee down onto the mat. Keep reaching forward with your hands. On your exhale, shift back into your half splits, closing the space between your chest and your thigh. On your inhale, shift your hips forward. Place your hands down to frame your front foot. Power up that back leg. Connect your chest onto your front leg. And on your exhale, push your chest onto your front leg to straighten out the front leg. Closing the space between your chest and your thigh again. Reaching forward with your hands. Shift forward. Bring your left knee in and your left foot down, hip distance apart. Fold yourself over completely. On your inhale, raise your chest up halfway, straighten out your legs. Place your hands back down, step back into that plank. Reach forward to the crown of your head, elbows in, lower down halfway into your chaturanga. Upward facing dog, shoulders away from your ears, knees active. And on your exhale, downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in, raise the left leg up towards the sky. Bring the left knee in, shoulders over your wrist, stepping forward with control. Front knee over front toes, back heel over back toes. If your leg ended up at the back, you can use your hand to bring it forward. Lower the back knee, keep reaching forward, shift back, close the space between your chest and your thigh. Feel everything there is to feel. On your inhale, shift forward. Power up that back leg. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Straighten out the front leg. Close the space between your chest and your thigh. Reach forward with your hands. Take a deep breath in and shift forward, raising your right leg up. Bring your right knee in and right foot near your left, hip distance apart. Folding yourself over completely. On your inhale, raising your hands all the way up towards the sky. Biceps come close towards your ears. And hands into your heart center on your exhale. Keep your hands exactly where they are. Bring your shoulders away from your ears by relaxing them. Keep your eyes closed. See if you can make your inhales long and match your exhales with your inhales. By doing this, see if you can slow your breath down and actively make your heartbeat slow down. Keep taking deep breaths. And when everything begins to slow down, you can place your hands down by your sides. Again, coming back to your breath, coming back to your heartbeat, slowing everything down. If there are thoughts running through your mind, see if you can let them pass through. Try not to hold on to them. And when everything starts to slow down, we're going to now move into a short flow. We just finished our warm-up. On your next inhale, raise your hands all the way up towards the sky. Lower belly draws in. On your exhale, you're going to lower your hands down onto the mat. Again, you can have a generous bend in your knees if you need to. Push your hands into the mat. Round out that back, draw your ribs in. On your next inhale, chest comes up halfway. Fingertips dig into the mat. Shoulder blades spread apart by pushing your fingertips into the mat. Keep drawing your ribs in, lower belly in. Keep pushing your hands into the mat. See if you can plug your right femur bone into its socket and take your right leg all the way towards the back of the mat, lifting your right heel high and pointing your right toes towards the mat. On your next exhale, you're going to start bending your left knee, landing your right foot all the way in the back of the mat. So your front knee ends up over your front toes and your back heel ends up over the back toes. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Connect your chest firmly onto your front thigh. Take a deep breath in, and on your exhale, keep pushing your chest onto your front leg to straighten it out. Now, if this is difficult for you, you can always bring your back foot a little bit in to make this move a little bit more accessible. Staying on your fingertips, rounding out your back, drawing your lower belly in. All of these things make straightening out your front leg just that much more easier. Keep closing the space between your chest and your thigh. Now from here, you're going to draw that lower belly in, round out that back, draw your ribs in, and see if you can find enough space to slide your left foot along the mat into a three-legged downward facing dog. Now from here, you're going to place your hands down and then bring your left knee to your nose. See if you can touch your knee to your nose, bringing your shoulders above your wrists, and then send your left leg back into a three-legged dog. Bring your left knee in, knee to nose, send it back, three-legged dog. Bring it back in, knee to nose, shoulders over wrist, holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then stepping forward with control. Now again, front knee over front toes, back heel over back toes. If you brought your foot forward, you'll need to readjust by pushing your right foot back. Now, take a deep breath in, lower the back knee down, reach forward with your hands, and then shift back until your left leg is straight. Closing the space between your chest and your thigh, flexing your left toes in towards you, flexing your entire left leg. On your next inhale, shifting forward, placing your hands down to frame your front foot, powering up that back leg, flipping your back foot to a 90-degree angle. Okay, so back foot to 90-degree angle, and windmilling your hands up into your warrior 2 position. Now, in your warrior 2 position, again, your front knees over your front toes, your torso faces the side of the room, your back foot is a 90-degree angle, and your hands are staying parallel towards one another. Again, you want to keep your ribs in, and if you're sticking your butt out, you want to draw it back under. Now, as you move your torso to the side, I want you to see if your knee comes with you. If it is, push it back out. Place your hands parallel towards one another, and on your exhale, sink down a little bit deeper into that warrior 2. Holding for a few more breaths. You're going to then reach your hands out in front of you, straighten out your left leg, and start bending your right knee to lower down into a ninja lunge all the way towards the back of the mat. Now from here, you're going to pivot onto your left heel, keep your right foot as flat as you can onto the mat, keep your chest up, keep your core tight, and go as low as you can. Holding for a few more breaths. You're going to then lead forward with your chest to come back and pivot back into that low lunge. Connecting your chest onto your front leg and pushing your chest onto your front leg to straighten it out. Closing the space between your chest and your thigh. Again, remember, if this is hard for you, you can bring your right foot in. If not, just closing the space. Reaching forward with your hands. Taking a deep breath in, shifting forward, Bringing your right foot near your left, hip distance apart. Taking a deep breath in, and on your exhale, dropping your hips down in between your heels. Reaching forward with your hands, extending your shoulders out as much as you can. Shoulders all the way up towards your ears, staying active on your fingertips. Pushing your knees into the outside of your shoulders and dropping your chin into your chest. Making yourself small and compact as you can. And then wrap your hands around your knees and see if you can grab your ankles. Now, if your hands still end up somewhere here, that's completely fine. But see if you can grab your ankles, push your knees into the outside of your shoulders, chin to chest, and make yourself as small as you can. Holding for a few more breaths. Release your ankles, place your hands down behind you, and sit back onto your glutes. Extend your legs. Now, one last thing before we finish one side. Place your hands down, bring your legs together, point your toes, place your hands down in between your knees and your hips. On your fingertips, elbows in, lean forward, close the space between your chest and your thigh. Now, keep your legs as close as you can into your chest and then push into your hands to straighten them out and see if you can bring your legs up. Now, if this is hard for you, you can bend your knees and bring your knees in closer, but if you can't keep them straight, let's hold them straight. Holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lowering down with control. Coming back to our breath, taking a small break. Coming back to that silence. Coming back to our heartbeat. Making our inhales long and matching our exhales with our inhales. Slowly, as everything begins to slow down, you can slowly open up your eyes and make your way towards the top of the mat, standing. We're going to now go ahead and move on into our other side. So we're going to start off by placing our feet hip distance apart, rolling our shoulders back, drawing our ribs in, drawing our lower belly in, relaxing our shoulders away from your ears. And on your next inhale, raising your hands all the way up towards the sky, bringing your biceps close towards your ears, shoulders all the way up towards your ears, taking your hands behind your ears if possible, drawing your ribs in, drawing your lower belly in. On your exhale, lowering your hands down onto the mat. You can have a generous bend in your knees if you need to. On your next inhale, chest comes up halfway, taking your fingertips into the mat, rounding out your back, drawing your ribs in, drawing your lower belly in. Push into your hands and then start to take your left leg all the way towards the back of the mat, lifting your left knee heel high, keeping your left knee extended and your left toes pointing towards the ground. Keep drawing those ribs and lower belly in. Keep your right knee as straight as you can. Take a deep breath in, and on your exhale, start to lower your back foot down onto the mat until your front knee is over your front toes and your back heel is over your back toes. Bringing your hands underneath your shoulders, taking a deep breath in, and then shifting your chest onto your front leg to straighten it out as much as you can. Closing the space between your chest and your thigh. Again, you can bring your back foot in if this is hard for you and if you can't straighten out your front knee. Again, by bringing your hands underneath your shoulders, pushing into your fingertips, rounding out your back, drawing your lower belly in. All of these things make it a little bit more easier and more accessible. So from here, you're going to place your hands underneath your shoulders and then see if you can find enough space to slide your right foot along the mat into that three-legged downward facing dog. Place your hands onto the mat. Bring your right knee in towards your chest. See if you can touch your knee to your nose. Send it back into that three-legged dog. Again, knee to nose, shoulders over wrists. Send it back, three-legged dog. Again, knee to nose, shoulders over wrists, as high as you can. Holding for 5, 4, 3, 2. Stepping forward with control. Again, front knee over front toes, back heel over back toes. Slowly lower your back knee down onto the mat. Actively reach forward. Take a deep breath in, and on your exhale, shift your hips back to straighten out the front leg. You can flex your toes in towards you, flex out your entire right leg, and keep closing the space between your chest and your thigh. Holding for a few more breaths and feeling everything there is to feel in the back of your right leg. Take a deep breath in, and on your inhale, shift forward. Place your hands down to frame your front foot. Power up that back leg. And from here, you're going to flip your back foot to a 90-degree angle. Upon flipping it to a 90-degree angle, you're going to then windmill your hands up to come into your warrior 2 position. Now again, like we did on the other side, in your warrior 2 position, your front knee is above your front toes. Your back foot does a 90-degree angle. Your torso faces the side of the room, and when you bring your torso onto the side, you can see if your front knee is caving in. If it is, you're going to push it out. Okay. Now, from here, you're going to extend your hands out parallel towards one another. And on your next exhale, you're going to sink down just a little bit more further deeper into your warrior 2. Holding for a few more breaths. And extending your hands out in front of you. You're going to then slowly start to straighten out your right leg this time and start to bend your left knee to lower down into that ninja lunge towards the back of the mat. Now you're going to pivot this time onto your right heel and keep your left foot as flat as you can. Keep extending your hands out to maintain your balance and see how low you can get your hips down towards the ground. Holding for a few more breaths, keeping your chest up, keeping your core tight. On your next inhale, you're going to shift forward with your chest and come back and pivot into your low lunge. Connecting your chest onto your front leg, straightening it out. Again, you can bring your back foot in, shoulders, hands underneath your shoulders, and close the space between your chest and your thigh. Keep reaching forward with your hands. Take a deep breath in, shifting forward. And then bringing your left knee in and left foot near your right. Hip distance apart. On your next exhale, sitting down in between your heels, squatting down, reaching forward with your hands. Reach your shoulders all the way towards your ears. Draw your ribs in. Stay active on your fingertips. Push your knees into the outside of your shoulders. Tuck your chin to your chest and make yourself as small as you can. Slowly bring your hands back. Wrap your hands around your knees and grab your ankles. Keep squeezing your knees into the outside of your shoulders. Tuck your chin to your chest, making yourself as small as you can. Release your ankles. Place your hands down behind you. Sit back onto your mat. We're almost done with the hard stuff. Just one more thing. Extend your legs. Bring your knees together. Toes together. Place your hands down in between your knees and your hips. Onto your fingertips. Elbows in. Closing the space between your chest and your thighs. Try to maintain this space between your chest and your thighs. and then push into your hands to straighten out your legs. Again, you can bend your knees if you need to, but if you can keep them straight and extended, perfect. Holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lowering down. Taking a deep breath in. And closing your eyes. Coming back to your breath. Coming back to your heartbeat. Making your inhales long. And matching your exhales with your inhales. Letting everything slow down. Letting your mind calm down. Whatever the negative thoughts that are running through your mind, I want you to silence them. Giving yourself a pat on the back for pushing through, putting in that effort. Life will always challenge us. The only thing that matters is that we put in as much effort as we can. Do whatever that we're doing to the best of our ability, so that even if we do fall, even if we do fail, we do that knowing that we gave it our all. And that's anyone can ever ask for. As everything begins to slow down, the hard part is now over. We have a few more things, just a few stretches. So slowly make your way into a tabletop position, placing your hands underneath your shoulders, placing your knees underneath your hips, coming into your tabletop position, bringing your right knee to your right wrist and your right foot to your left hip. Slowly start to walk your left leg back until you can't go anymore. And then once you can't go anymore, point your toes and start to lower down onto your forearms. Now, I want to make sure that you don't have any kind of muscular engagement here. So just relax into your pose and let your body sink down onto your mat. If this is comfortable for you, you can slowly extend out your hands and lower your torso onto the mat. You're going to feel sensations all in your glutes, in your IT band, in your left hip flexor, and depending on how tight you are, you might even feel some sensations in your lower back. Slowly walking your hands back and pushing back into that tabletop position. You're going to now bring your left knee to your left wrist and your left foot to your right hip. Slowly start to walk your right leg back this time until you can't go anymore. Point your toes and then lower your forearms down onto the mat. Again, if this is comfortable for you, you can lower down completely onto the mat and let your torso and body just sink into the ground, remembering that you're going to feel sensations in your glutes, IT band. On this side, you'll feel it in your right hip flexor most of all, and possibly your lower back. Letting everything slow down, to your mind calm down, relaxing into your pose. Slowly walking your hands back, pushing back up into the tabletop position, sitting down to the side, and then swinging your legs forward. Now, from here, you're going to have a slight bend in your knees, and you're going to grab onto your heels. Now, connect your chest onto your knees and flex your toes in towards you. Now, while holding on to your heels, push your chest onto your legs to see if you can straighten them out. Now, if your knees are still bent, but you're feeling a stretch in your hamstrings, you're feeling a stretch in your lower back, that means you're doing it. So don't feel like you need to completely straighten out your legs to get the benefits from this pose. Just do whatever you can to the best of your ability. Tuck your chin to your chest and then relax into your pose. You're going to feel sensations in your hamstrings, in your lower back, in your QL muscles, possibly even in your calf muscles. If you're really pulling into your hands, you're going to feel sensations in your back muscle, your lats, and possibly your traps. Once you drop your head, you're going to feel sensations all through your spinal cord, all along your back. Keep breathing deep into your ribs, into your lungs, expanding your body, expanding your rib cage as much as you can. Slowly start to roll your torso up. Have a slight bend in your knees and lay back down onto your mat. You can place your feet down, have a slight bend in your knees, and start to extend your left leg out. Place your hands down into a cactus shaped position. Bring your right knee to your chest. Place your left hand on your right knee and bring your right knee down towards the left side. Now, here, if your right shoulder starts to lift up, don't worry about it. Try not to force it down, but relax as much as you can and let your right shoulder eventually sink down onto the mat. Bringing everything back in the center. This time, extend your right leg, extend your right leg. Bring your left knee in towards your chest. Bring your right hand onto your left knee and lower your left knee down towards the right side. Again, if your left shoulder starts to lift up, don't be concerned. See if you can relax into your pose, try not to force it down. And eventually, your left shoulder will make its way down onto the mat. Keeping your gaze towards the roof. Having deep breaths into your ribcage, into your lungs, expanding your body. Bringing everything back in the center. You can place your feet down on the side edges of the mat. Bring your hands in. And let your knees start windshield wiping. Shake off any tension that you might have created or put your spine through during your practice. And whenever you're ready, extending your legs down, extending your hands down, relaxing completely and preparing for final Shavasana. So Shavasana is interesting because it's what helps you digest everything that you just put your body through. Don't deny yourself from this. Just stay there, relax, and let everything digest and absorb into your body. And I will bring it out of you when the time is right. Slowly begin to deepen your breath, adding movements into your hands and your feet, taking a deep stretch above your head, rolling onto one side, and pushing yourself up into a seat. Keeping your eyes closed, coming back to your breath, coming back to your intention, coming back to your heartbeat and your breath. Feeling that sense of calmness that surrounds you, that takes over you. Seeing if you can maintain this sense of calm as you move through your day and your week. Thank you all for trusting me with your time and your practice. Namaste, everyone.